Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. Before we start, let's hear a profit first success story from John.
Hi, it's John Murphy from John Murphy International, and this is just a short testimonial for Rocky Lalvani. Rocky, I was put in touch with because I had read the book Profit First and was interested in implementing it, but I just found the whole process, I'm not a detailed person, the whole process to it somewhat challenging. But I had a conversation with Rocky and he gave me the assurance that, if we work together, we could make it happen. And true to his word, he actually made it so simple, so straightforward. And I was left with just a small number of things that I needed to do in order to really set that up. And then he actually helped me to allocate the money into different accounts. And also he followed up in making sure that I adhered to that. So without Rocky, to be honest with you, I would not have got it done. I would have had great intentions, but it would not have happened. So I would highly recommend to anybody who really is interested in taking their profit first. And let's be honest, we all should be doing it. It highlighted so many things. The process of working with Rocky highlighted so many things to me that I just needed to address. So not only did I get the system up and running, but I also got great advice. Highly recommend, if you're interested in profit first, if you're interested in getting a system whereby you pay yourself first, then talk to Rocky. He is the guy to go to, and he will set you straight and make sure that you will stay on that path. So thank you, Rocky. I appreciate the work that you have done with me, and I look forward to continuing the relationship with you. Take care.
With my help, John was able to solve the number one mistake most business owners make. It's spending too much. We have to stop spending. It's not a message you hear in the media, on advertisements, because there's zero return on investment for giving that advice. How does the person giving it to you profit? They usually don't. But I found a unique way to help business owners to stop unnecessary and vanity spending and get back on track. John got 10x my fees by taking my advice and making some changes that did nothing for the services he was receiving. He just figured out how to get them for a lot less money. If you haven't heard my interview with Mike Michalowicz, check it out. It's episode 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode number 1 is the why and how. The goal of this podcast is to help you, the business owner, understand your financial numbers so you can make better decisions. How was tax day for you? It sucked for me. I owed about another $40,000 on top of what I already paid. Thankfully, I can write the check because we use the Profit First systems, and it ensures I'm ready for taxes. I'm also happy to pay that much in taxes because it means I have profits. I put that money in the bank. Here's the thing to remember. Spending comes directly from bottom line profits. I was able to help another client save over $2,000 and receive 98% of the benefit of what they were doing. But what about the other 2% in sales they may lose? Here's what I want you to think about. He has to sell a lot of products to get $2,000 in profit. It's not $2,000 in revenue equals $2,000 in profit. And that's kind of hard to get our brains around. You've got to sell maybe $20,000 to get $2,000 in profit. So what's easier, cutting $2,000 in profit or finding another $20,000 in revenue? And for some of you, it might be $20,000 in profit and $200,000 in revenue. That's why cutting expenses is so important. For example, if you've got a 5% profit margin, that means you need to sell 20 times that in revenue. That's not always easy. I understand this isn't the typical message because nobody's advocating for cutting spending because they all want to get paid and they want you to spend so they can be profitable. My job is to help you say no to spending. Who do you have on your team that does that for you? Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. That means that expenses need to be a leftover. They need to be small. They need to be less than what you're currently spending. Let me ask you a question. How different would your financial life be if I let you undo 3 financial decisions you made? I'm going to pause. And if you need to, hit pause as well. For me, the answer is 7 figures. Yeah, I've made some mistakes, and we can prevent them by pausing and thinking when we make large decisions. Too often we're hyped up in the moment, and we don't think things through, and we spend too much. How big was the number for you? Every time I dig through business financials, the results are the same. Too much spending. Many times it's signing up for a program or service or a consultant that provides 0 returns. Or just not running the numbers up front to make sure it was a wise business decision to begin with. One thing I've noticed is that business owners think that just because you have good or increasing revenues, you can spend. That's not true. We tend to spend faster than our sales go up, and then we wonder why we have no money left. 83% of business owners operate like this. Let's not be part of them. I want to share a few more basic examples and get into some of the nitty-gritty. The first thing is cost of goods. A lot of times the cost of goods are too high for the margins you're getting. It literally makes no sense to sell them after you factor in selling costs. Your cost of goods should never be more than 70% of your pricing. And when I say cost of goods, I am including shipping. If you're shipping stuff, all of that has to be tied in there. A lot of times we forget about shipping, and shipping's expensive. The next area, depending on how you sell, but Amazon, PayPal, credit card fees, Shopify, all of these things take a massive cut, and it digs directly into your profits. You need to ensure that you have the margin to handle it. Unfortunately, it's very hard to cut their percentages. And so you have to redo the way you do business or turn off some of those services or make sure that they're appropriately priced into your pricing. Another thing that comes up is software fees and services. It adds up so quickly, and a lot of them may not be needed. I helped a client cut his spending on software services by 90% by switching to a lower tier. I do my best to not sign up for monthly software. I prefer to buy desktop versions or find a cheaper alternative. A lot of times we sign up for stuff and don't use it and forget to cancel it. Have your people check into what you're using and paying for and see if it's worth it. I have one person who was stuck on a grandfathered software plan that was over 3 times the price the company was currently charging other customers. A simple phone call fixes that. When choosing platforms, you need to think through the long-term decisions of using them and how easy or hard is it going to be to switch to another vendor. Many times it's very expensive to do so, and you're stuck with a very high cost. That might be one of those big business decisions that you'd like to unravel. So when you're making those decisions, think through it to a deeper level. Rent can also be a very high cost. You have to ask yourself, are you using the space efficiently? Do you need to be where you are? Is there a cheaper solution? COVID has changed the world in the sense that business owners are now realizing all of their employees don't need to be sitting in an office. And now with the internet and the ability to get VAs in other countries at a fraction of the cost, you may figure out different ways to route your services or where and how your services are being used. Companies across the country are seriously considering cutting their footprint to save on rent. And I'm talking Fortune 500 companies all the way down to the small business owner. What about vehicles for your business? Do you need to spend as much as you are? Many times there's vanity in picking out vehicles. Along with the vehicles are insurance rates. Have conversations about getting a better deal or adjusting it. So you've got your vehicle insurance, you've got your business insurance, and you've got your health insurance. And constantly checking and figuring out how to lower those is important. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I called my insurance agent and said, is there anything we can do? Within a few minute phone call or email, he got back to me and said, yeah, I can cut your rates. I think he cut them by like 10%, and it just for asking. So constantly ask and have them look at this stuff. You'd be shocked at what's out there, but it takes you to make the phone call. The other area I see a lot of money being spent, cell phones and internet, astronomical. They raise prices all the time. You have to make a call and see if they have a better deal. If you don't like making all these calls, have one of your employees do it. Or hire a service to negotiate the rates down for you. What about utilities? I just cut my electrical generation charge by 20% in a few minutes of shopping around. It's all these little things that consistently add up over time. Does your advertising have a good return on investment? Do you even know? We should all be measuring our spends and ensure we're getting results. Don't just spend on advertising because somebody says, hey, they have some great promo that they're going to help you increase sales. Make sure you're actually increasing sales. What about meals and entertainment? Is there a better way? It's so easy to spend on this because we all like to have fun. But the reality is if we're spending too much in this area, it's hurting our bottom line. Do you have employees that offer little to no value? I'm not telling you to cut pay. That's a bad idea. But if someone's not providing value to the company, it's time to make a hard decision. I actually like to pay people more and have less people. Some people make the business run less efficiently. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen them in your company, it's time to get rid of them. What about customers? Do you have customers that don't provide profit to the company? They suck up too much time and constantly shortchange you? Maybe you misprice the items and are selling it close to cost or below because you put it on sale or cut a deal because you needed more revenue. You need to get rid of those customers or products if they suck up time and energy and will never be profitable. Another major expense is you stealing from the company to buy personal stuff. I get it from a tax standpoint, but seriously, make sure you are spending wisely personally as well as in your business. You have to check your margins and ensure you have enough to cover the costs of selling the products and services. Many times the issue is high fixed costs, and that means you really need to crank up the revenue machine. I know this is a lot, so pick one category each week, carve out 30 minutes to look at those expenses, and come up with a plan to see if they can be cut. Your employees are going to be happy to spend your money without any regards to profit. This flip side to cutting expenses is raising your prices. Do you charge enough for your products and services, and can you raise prices? It is one easy way to fix this problem. Not everyone has pricing power. If you do, then take advantage of that. And one of these days, maybe we'll do an entire episode on value pricing. Too often we set our pricing based on our costs and not on the value that we deliver to customers. And so if you're not familiar with this model, check it out. Most business owners can find a way to cut 10% of expenses in a few weeks. The reality is if you have $1 million business that cuts 10% of expenses, that is a lot more money in your pocket. And I'm sure you'd enjoy that. I'm offering free profit analysis for business owners. Just email me over your profit and loss report. And if you don't have a profit and loss report, your last year's tax return, and I will tell you what your profit percentages are for allocations. I'll tell you what your targets should be. And I can also tell you where you have high expenses and where to focus to get your biggest returns. Email is rocky@profitcomesfirst. Let's face it, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. And that's exactly what this whole episode was, focusing on the bottom line. I get it. Some of you don't want to deal with this, and that's fine. Have me do it for you. Because you have your zone of genius and what you want to focus on. This is mine. I only have a few coaching slots open at the moment, so don't wait or you may end up on the waiting list. I usually work with business owners who are growing to $500,000 to $5 million in revenue. Use the scheduling link in the show notes to get on my calendar to see if I can help you. If you want to learn about living a life of your dreams, check out my other podcast, Richer Soul. So let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Let's thrive and grow. Have a profitable week.